All right, welcome back. As the sun rises on the 24th night, Scheherazade is ready to continue her tale for King Shahryar. We left off with a family completely torn apart by a feud from a decade ago, but they're unknowingly about to be reunited in the city of Damascus. So we pick up right where we left off, and this massive family mystery, it's all about to be unlocked by the most unlikely clue you could possibly imagine: a simple bowl of food. The story gets going again with young Ajib. Now, he's just come back from the city after this fateful and totally unrecognized run-in with his own father, who's working as a cook. And the first thing he does is complain to his grandmother that her cooking just doesn't measure up. Well, you can imagine, this innocent critique from a kid, it absolutely ignites a firestorm of anger in his grandmother. She is convinced that the eunuch, the one in charge of Ajib, has corrupted her grandson by taking him to common food stalls. I mean, that's a total disgrace for a minister's family. The eunuch, he's desperately trying to deny it, but Ajib, being a kid, just keeps insisting. He's like, no, we didn't just go into the shop, we ate his food, and it was way better. And that forces the grandmother's hand. Her pride and maybe a little bit of hope are totally on the line. But here's the thing, this is so much more than just a culinary challenge. This is really an act of faith, of desperation, and it's about to set in motion the unraveling of a 10-year-old tragedy. And get this, back at the shop, the cook, our long-lost Hassan Badr el-Din, says this exact phrase while he's making the dish. He has absolutely no idea that he is basically sending a message across time and distance, a culinary signature that only one person in the entire world could possibly recognize. So the eunuch, who's already gotten a beating over this whole mess, rushes back with the bowl. Hassan has carefully sealed it with musk and rosewater. The moment of truth for everyone has finally arrived. She lifts the spoon to her lips, takes a single taste, and in that one instant, she knows. It's not just similar, it's perfect. It's the unique way she taught her son to make it. That sensory memory, buried for a whole decade, just floods her senses. Her face twists, and she lets out this piercing shriek. Just think about it. After 10 years of relentless grief, of mourning at a symbolic tomb she literally built for him, a single taste confirms her son is alive. The shock is just too much, and she completely collapses, unconscious. When she's revived and finally explains what's happened, the minister, Hassan's uncle, is just overcome with joy. But his method for getting his nephew back is, let's just say, a little unorthodox. In a display of power as grand as his grief, he issues this absolutely bizarre and violent command. And just like that, the world Hassan has known for a decade is shattered around him. He's captured while his entire life is being destroyed, dragged away in chains, just completely bewildered. His mind is racing, trying to figure out what crime he could have possibly committed to deserve this, and he comes up with nothing. This journey is a pure psychological nightmare. He's kept locked up in a wooden chest. Every single night, his captors let him out just long enough to give him some food and ask, "Are you the one who cooked the pomegranate dish?" before locking him right back in the dark. Hassan is horrified. They tell him a carpenter is building a crucifix just for him, and his crime, a missing ingredient. The sheer absurdity of it is the final cruel twist of the knife. It just speaks to the strange, terrible logic of his captors. So that night, while Hassan is sleeping in the chest, believing it's his last night on Earth, his uncle orchestrates the final, most elaborate part of his plan. It's a plan designed to completely erase 10 years of hardship in a single night. They carefully carry him out of the chest, take off his cook's rags, and dress him in the very same fine nightshirt he wore on his wedding night. Then they place him in this lavishly lit chamber, a place he recognizes from a life he was absolutely convinced was lost forever. He wakes up and his mind just fractures. Is this a dream? Is he in paradise? Or has he finally completely gone mad? Everything he sees and feels is utterly impossible. It's his wife, the Lady of Beauty, Sit al-Husn. And she's acting as if only a few moments have passed since he stepped out of their wedding bed 10 years ago. She is playing her part in this grand, bewildering deception perfectly. So he tells her about this decade-long dream he just had, about being a cook in Damascus, about some boy who threw a stone at him. But then
He touches his forehead. The scar is real. The pain was real. And in that moment, his reality just breaks in two. How can a dream leave a physical mark? He's completely caught between two lives, and his mind is about to snap.
And just as his confusion hits its absolute peak, his uncle, the minister, walks into the room. This grand, cruel, and ultimately loving deception is finally about to be revealed.
The minister confesses everything, the foolish argument with his brother, the 10-year search, and this whole elaborate ruse to bring Hassan home. He explains he did it this way to be absolutely certain, beyond any doubt, that it was truly him.
First, Hassan is reunited with his weeping mother. And then, the minister brings in the very boy from his dream, the boy who praised his cooking, and the boy who injured him. And the minister just replies, simply, "This is your son, Ajib." The ultimate irony is finally revealed. His very first encounter with his own child was an act of anger, born from a love that he couldn't possibly comprehend at the time. And so, after a decade of sorrow and this bizarre, winding journey, a family shattered by a foolish argument is made whole again. It's a reunion made possible by a father's love, a mother's memory, and, of all things, a simple pomegranate dish. You see, this story shows how a simple meal can bring a family back together across a decade. But what happens when another meal leads not to a joyous reunion, but to a web of accusation, dark comedy, and near certain death for every single person involved?